Hi guys, we're going to be doing some videos today from Boston. Now the first one is from the Granary Burial Grounds. It is the oldest burial grounds in Boston and hosts a number of very famous people are buried here. So just a quick run across. It's called the Granary Burial Grounds because it was basically directly opposite the old granary in Boston, which has been knocked down unfortunately and is not there anymore, but the burial grounds still remain. Now this hosts a number of very famous people that have signed the Declaration of Independence and were the people that basically started the War of Independence against Britain in the 1700s. So we've got some famous people here. The first one here is none other than Samuel Adams, one of the three probably most famous people that signed the Declaration of Independence and were the forefathers of the War of Independence. So him, John Hancock and Paul Revere. So we're going to be following the Freedom Trail today, which is famously what Paul Revere ran along with his horse screaming the British are coming, just before the British brought their troops into Boston Harbour to retake it. So we've got that, and we've got another one over here, which are the 5 men that perished in what's become famously known as the Boston Massacre. Now the Boston Massacre happened just before the Boston Tea Party, which is another very famous thing that happened just before the War of Independence and just before the Boston Tea Party and things like that. So all right, we're going to go down here. You can see there, over here, this is a gravestone, I guess, or a monument, and if you look very closely, it's a monument to Benjamin Franklin. Now, not many people actually know Benjamin Franklin isn't actually buried there. He's buried in Philadelphia, but his family are buried there. So this has been erected in the center of the Granary Burial Grounds in honor of one of the founding fathers and of America. So here you go. Tree. A bit more of a look. We'll just pull back and we'll see what we come up with next. Alright guys, well this is Boston Common. So similar to New York, Boston is a very big park that's right in the middle of it. It's interesting because Boston, where it is at the moment, used to be on a very small peninsula, kind of like an island with a slightly little land bridge that came across to it. About 70% of Boston these days is landfill. So they filled out into the oceans and they've increased the size of what Boston is now to about 70% bigger. But this still remains. This is called Boston Common. Now, people used to actually graze cows, sheep and livestock here. It was one of the only places in Boston that actually had enough grass and area where they could graze livestock. Being a very small area to start off with before they did the reclamation work. So there you go. Boston Common's got a few Christmas trees. Obviously a lot of the trees have lost their leaves again. Big fountain right here in the middle, which is quite famous. And then you'll see up there another building with a gold dome. We're going to cover that a little bit later. So anyway guys, Boston Common. Alright guys, just quickly, as you've probably seen some of my videos, I'm quite fascinated with squirrels. We don't have them in Australia and New Zealand. This is the most amount of squirrels I've ever seen in one place. They're everywhere, aren't you? And if I do this, look at him run over. He thinks he's going to get a nut. Look at him. You think, hello. And there's your little friend. He thinks he's going to get a nut too. Yes, no nut for you. They're kind of like bushy rats. Okay, here we are at the Massachusetts State House now. First thing you'll notice about it is a big gold dome on top. That's actually real gold, 23 karat gold. It was redone in the 70s for about 300 grand in pure gold. It had been done previously to that, but in the Second World War, they painted it grey because they were scared the Japanese were going to bomb them and it would be a big target for them. So they painted it grey and then they redid it in the 70s. This building was built by the Masons, and what most people don't know is most of the forefathers of America were Masons, and so the cornerstones here were put down by the Masons. Paul Revere who was the first person in America to ever, or first person in the world actually, to ever work out how to do rolled copper, covered the roof in copper just in the early 1800s to, we're getting a bit of rain here, 1800s, to stop it from leaking, because there was a wood dome before that and it leaked like a sieve. So there you go, the State House, now the home of the government for the great state of Massachusetts. There you go.